How you doing? I'm Gerald from the ISC. I'm going to talk to you something today. Talk to you about something today. Um, it's about how we have these clowns coming into our schools and into our libraries. But the thing of it is real clowns are out of work because now we're starting to have these clowns without the red nose. And let me explain. You know yourself how they've been showing on TV about how these. Well, let me take this back a step. Okay, I'm talking about transgenderism and stuff like that. Let me start out by saying this. You know, the new studies are showing, and the scientists are finally finding out that all these gender bender or gender blocking puberty drugs is now being related to hundreds and maybe even thousands of deaths in young and older people who transitioned at a very early age and took these gender puberty blocking drugs. And you know, before I go any further, let me give you let me go ahead and give you a Bible verse with this, and this is Romans 1:27. And likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the women, burned in their own lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. Their error. Their error. That's interesting that it talks about their error. Simply because there's so many people now that, as they're getting older, are so unhappy because these transgender people a lot of times can't get dates. They can't even find somebody who wants to stay with them or be with them because they're kind of like in the middle. They're stuck like in this middle zone where, you know, not only in my opinion is it ungodly to do this, but they're stuck in this middle zone. You know, so what we have now, you know, is people trying to retransition, and you know, and there's such a high amount of suicide in the transgender homosexual community and stuff as well. And as they get older, I think what's happening is they're starting to realize their unfortunate mistake. And I find it interesting. You know, I didn't even plan this. I just read something I had read in the Bible about this and then started speaking about this. But I find it really interesting that at the end of Romans 1:27, it says, their error, the recompense of their error, their mistake. And then these people now are finding out they've made a mistake and they're retransitioning, or they're trying to retransition back into being a real man. You know, but it's kind of hard when you're a real man now for people to see you as a real man when you've been a man that's changed into a woman and you've got a set of deep cup boobs, or you're a woman that trans into a man, or worse, a man that's completely cut off his entire genital area and everything, and now you're wanting to be with women. I mean, it's just, it's blowing their mind. And then you got the women who transition into men who are now wanting to retransition. But what's happened is where they've taken these blockers, you know, the men who are transitioning to women take these hormone blockers, these male hormone blockers that us as natural men, because we are made in the image of God, and men were, and women were made from men, and they were called woman. And the thing about it is wouldn't it be a problem, to, and what's bad is you got these parents that are conditioning these kids to thinking this because they might see them playing with a doll or something like that. They might like the color pink. Oh, they must be gay, or they must be in the wrong gender. They must have been born a little girl instead of a boy. Or you see a girl that's a tomboy. Oh, they must have been born in the wrong body. No. Tomboy girls make great athletes. Feminine men make great cooks. Now don't get me wrong, there's some real manly men out there that can cook their butt off. I'm just making an example here, so don't get all stupid with me. But anyway, it's really sad. And then what I really wanted to touch on here, and I kind of got off track in a way, but I can end it this way. This video is pretty much what I wanted to call, clowns without the red nose. Simply because we got these, we're allowing, us as parents are allowing our kids to go to school and be groomed by teachers who believe in this nonsense of we should all be so accepting of just everything that comes down the pipeline, whether it be sinful and ungodly or not. We have erased history entirely. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to entirely erase history, and they're even now trying to erase our Constitution. People, we can't allow this. Let me ask you this. Would you, as a parent that has a little girl or a little boy, allow strippers to come into the classrooms? Or allow strippers to meet with your kids, say at the library, where the parents are not allowed? Or the parents are allowed and they're okay with it? Or whether these strippers be male strippers or women strippers, and then allow your little 5 and 6 year old, 7, 8 year old kids to crawl all over them while they lay on the floor, as though they're just excited. Well, I believe they are excited. I believe it does excite these people. I believe they're in pure utopia at that moment. But the thing of it is, I believe it's a demon. I believe it's the demon spirit that's with them, that has attached itself to them, that has oppressed them to the point of maybe even being in them. But you see all these pictures of them just lying there and letting kids just pile on them and stuff. And they're laying right on top of these male genitals of these trans men. And they're finding out that some of them have rap sheets of being pedophiles. You wouldn't let strippers come in and do this with your kids. Where have all the clowns gone? Well, they're still here. It's just now we have clowns without the red nose. That's pretty much all I had to say. Except one more thing. I like Dr. Phil. I watch him. And I've seen probably 1,000 episodes. Okay? I've probably seen 1,000 episodes. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe I've just seen 100 or 200. But we used to watch it every day, 4 o'clock. My wife, Dr. Phil's coming up, and we'd be watching Dr. Phil. And I like Dr. Phil until I seen this one. And it was this brother, maybe you've seen this. It was this brother who brought his sister on there because he was unhappy she had this little boy who was of the age of around 2 when he started liking the color pink and started wanting to pick up the doll instead of the little, more muscular doll or the male G.I. Joe type figure or transformer or whatever. whatever, I mean, toys are out there are so bizarro these days that who knows? They're trying to make them genderless is what the problem is. Used to there was a clear difference in the boy games and the girl games, and now it is um, so what's the word, convoluted, or yeah, I guess you could say that. So muddy, so muddy. It's so foggy. The games that they got for boys, little boys and girls these days. You know. But anyway, if you ever notice, the girl wants to be the princess. She don't want to pick up the sword, the little plastic sword, or the boy always wanted to be the cowboy when I was growing up. The boy always wanted. Anyway, let me get back to my point. I was watching Dr. Phil, and I was livid with Dr. Phil, and I'll tell you why. Dr. Phil, I thought he was going to absolutely ream this woman. I really did. I thought he was going to come on her, and then he brought out Dr. Sophie too. That professional child guy who is the head of overall of CPS of Los Angeles, I reckon, and possibly even California. I don't know, but he is the overseer of the CPS program, and both of them got up there and laid into that brother because he was mad at his sister, because not only had she let this little boy start wearing girls' clothing, but she by age 3 was already dressing him fully as a girl every day and changed his name to a female's name. Okay, and what I thought Dr. Phil would say with some common sense and all his knowledge, because I've seen him do it so many times before, when teenagers up to the age of 17 all the way up to 20, how their brains are underdeveloped, how they really can't think for themselves, and that's why they're a child. So they get sent to these farms when they're 16-year-old and they're out of control. They get sent to the little cow farm to work, or they get sent to some exotic place to be retrained, or what is to be a good kid, or whatever. And some of these places work, but my goodness, I never thought Dr. Phil would do this, but he sided with the girl and told him, and Dr. Sophie both didn't mention nothing about the development in the brain in this episode. Not at all. Where are you at, Dr. Phil? You're supposed to even be a Christian man. I've heard you talk about so many times, how a child's brain is underdeveloped and can't rationally think like a grown person. And then you had the audacity to look at the young man, the brother, and say, hey, there's nothing wrong with this. Well, they'll find out sooner or later, if he wants to be a boy instead of a little girl. And Dr. Sophie agreed. And I thought for sure they were going to get on this girl for child abuse, because they were taking a 2 or 3 year old little boy and dressing him as a little girl, sending him to school as whatever, toddler, preschool, whatever we want to call it, but dressing him. And I think that what happened is, I think I'm getting a little mixed up now. The kid had been doing this for a year or so now, and is now starting school, and she had started him in school, I think, if I remember right. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have a good memory when it comes to everything. But she had even started him, I think, in school, if I'm not mistaken. But the brother was livid over it. He used to have fun with his little nephew, and now he refuses to refer to him as her or call him by a girl's name. And where were you at, Dr. Phil? Where was all your years of training as a doctor at that moment, with the underdeveloped brain that you so harshly criticize people with when it comes to the drugs and the dope and the pot and all that stuff? What church do you go to, Dr. Phil? Because, And you know good and well with your degrees, with all that you've done in, you know, the whole workings that you've done, whether it be the court systems or whether it be, you know, working with youth or working with the minds and the brain and knowing all about the brain, and how you and Dr. Lawless, you know, have been picking the brains and this and that for years and years. You know good and well that brain is too underdeveloped. And then you jump on the brother, and here's what blew my mind was is how, you know, he just his bottom line was, well, as the kid gets older, you know, if it's a mistake that she's made, then you know, sooner or later, then, you know, it'll obviously come out. You know, he'll figure it out. Yeah, yeah. When he's suicidal, when he's been called faggot or queer or gay all his life, or when he's been made fun of for 5 years in school and he's suicidal. And when he decides to retransition himself back, maybe his penis is gone, who knows? But man, I was so mad and livid with Dr. Phil that I can't even hardly watch Dr. Phil at this point now. So I don't know, you know. I know there's so many of you out there that like Dr. Phil, but if you've seen that episode and you agree with that, then don't watch me. I don't have any viewers anyway. I mean, you know, Big Tech's already started that because I had a lot of followers on my page when I was on Facebook that I don't go on anymore. But anyway, have a good day. God bless you. That's all I got to say. But, you know, if you want to know where all the clowns are going, they're still here. They just don't wear the red noses. Have a good day and God bless you. I'm Jerome.